Hello, friends. Hello, friends.
A tradition unlike any other.
Oh, my goodness. In your life, have you seen anything like that?
There it is! Adam Scott, a life changer. Mashed potato!
Here it comes.
All right, welcome to the 19th Tee podcast. First and foremost, the audio is probably not going to be as good as what we were hoping. A few mic issues on my end tonight, unfortunately. Still trying to work it out. Don't know what is going on, but we wanted to get the episode with Matias Sanchez out to you all. That'll be coming your way very shortly. But first and foremost, it'd be remiss to not mention Minjee Lee, who won the Kroger Queen City Championship on the second playoff hole, beating Charlie Hull with a birdie. She did lose a 5-shot lead on the back nine, but she recovered at the right time to come out on top of Charlie Hull, who's a very fine player in her own right. It's her first win this year. She finished with a 1 under 71, but I didn't think that it was her first win this year. But here we are. She recovered after stumbling on that back nine. So great news for Minjee Lee. The other piece of news that we wanted to pass on was that the Aussies are locked in for a shot at reaching the Masters and the Open via the 2023 Asia Pacific Amateur Championship, the APAC. That's at Royal Melbourne next year. That is at Royal Melbourne next month, my apologies, to earn a spot in the Masters and the Open next year. So there are 10 invitees. We've got Jeffrey Guan, who's just an incredible player in his own right, Jack Buchanan from South Australia, our good friend Lucas Michelle, Connor Fuchs from over here in WA, Quinton Croker from Queensland, Max Charles, Harry Bolton, Jai Picken, Jasper Stubbs, and Harry Takis. They will be competing in the APAC tournament for a spot in the Masters and the Open Championship next year. As I mentioned at the top, this episode is with Matias Sanchez, who was a wonderful chat, a fine young player and a fine young man who's doing great things. Of course, you know him recently won first stage of Q School, DP World Tour Q School here in Australia. He'll be heading over to Spain very shortly for stage 2 and 3. He's also heading off to Asian Tour Q School in amongst playing on the Aussie Tour. So without any further ado, let's get stuck into our chat with Matias Sanchez. As I mentioned at the top, very excited to have Matias Sanchez on the line, joining us from the other side of the screen. Mate, thanks so much for taking the time to join us with your furry Fred next to us as well, mate.
Yeah, no, it's a pleasure to be here. It should be a good chat.
Mate, how's things? It's been obviously a busy, I guess, handful of months anyway. Obviously, Q School, your name was certainly up in lights around that here first stage a couple of weeks back. And of course, the back end of last year as well. The golf season, it doesn't seem to be an off season anymore. It seems to be a 365-day, 12-month grind, doesn't it?
Yeah, basically. Obviously, last season finished around that April time, and then I took a little bit of time off. But then again, you got the events popping up in the middle of our winter, and the pro-ams in Queensland are always pretty good. So you want to keep your game sharp, and I took a couple of weeks off, and then got right back into it. Trying to get ready for this upcoming season.
And played fairly well in the pro-ams up in Queensland as well.
Yeah. So I was away for about 5 weeks. Went up to Thailand, played a couple of events up there, and went straight from there to Rockhampton, which was a bit of a grind of a flight. Flew down to Gold Coast and then drove up about 8 hours. So got over that, and then like you said, I ended up getting a win up in Rockhampton, which was awesome, and got really sick right after that. Got, I think, some sort of gastro bug, and lost about 5 kilos in 2 days. for a small bloke like myself, it's probably not the best thing. But yeah, kept them playing up there, which was good. And yeah, then came back home and just worked in the game, and then got into it with the last couple of events at NT and Q School.
I mean, maybe we'll start with Q School. Obviously, it's the one that's kind of everyone's sort of talking about in the last couple of weeks, particularly around yourself. It wasn't I guess easy in the end. There were a few little hiccups on that back nine, which I'm sure we could get into, but I guess for you to come through that relatively unscathed and then end up walking away, and you've got the DP World Tour flag and you're taking the photo in front of the DP World Tour sign and you're advancing on. I mean, it must be a nice feeling to be advancing through to what is such a competitive part of the world's second biggest tour.
Yeah, for sure. I had a crack last year and didn't fare too good, so I missed out by a couple shots and didn't think I did too many things wrong. So it's no easy feat on trying to get through. Much can be the same this year. I played fairly decent, especially putting and scrambling. I thought I did that pretty well for most of the week. I didn't have the best ball striking week, but I still thought it was decent enough. And found myself I think 5 or 6 in front with 9 holes to go. Thought I was just having lots of fun on that front nine. I mean, I was holding putts from 30, 40 feet, which is unheard of. And then that back nine was something else. Had a little 3 putt on 10 and thought it was fine. Didn't really think much of it. And then on the 12th hole, hit a drive on the edge of the fairway, and ball was heading towards a pine tree, and it hit the pine tree, and it just never came out. Got stuck up that tree, so took 7 on that hole, and it got very real from then onwards. The stress and anxiety of it all, thinking you could blow this thing. It became very real very quick.
Yeah.
So, and then I made a bogey 2 holes later, hit it way right in the trees, and had to chip sideways again and made a bogey. And then at that point, your mind's just like racing. It's going a million miles an hour, and I thought I was maybe 1 in front or maybe tied, and I knew that everyone behind second was really tight. So I thought, like, if I put another bad swing here, like, I could be done. But yeah, I knuckled down and made a great birdie on 16, and I thought this was probably the massive pivotal point, because I've hit it on the edge of the bunker for 2, green side, and I thought I was going to be fine in the bunker. And it's not the toughest bunker shot, but it was on the tongue, and it was sitting in the rough, and they had sand underneath the ball. I thought, fuck, like, this isn't good, because I've kind of got to hit it over the bunker, but then it's sort of downhill towards the hole. So I've got to hit it perfectly, that I don't flub it, that it goes just 2 meters in front of me into the bunker because of the sand, and I don't want to guts it over the back. And my good mate Andre, who was I think coming second at the time, he finished second. He had like a 20-footer straight up the hill for eagle, and I thought, like, if he holds it, he's definitely in front. And if I make a bogey or a par, like, it's not looking good. Somehow hit a great chip shot to about 12 foot and rolled it in, and he made birdie as well, so he missed his eagle putt. So that gave me a big boost in confidence down the last 2 holes. Where I think I might have had a 1 or 2 shot lead. Turns out I had a 2 shot lead, because I don't like that 17 tee shot, and so happy to par the last 2 and walk away with the win, and very excited to be going to Spain in about a month and a half time.
Is there something, going back to 12 there, obviously things, I'm sure you get down to where that tree is, and off the tee, you're not thinking that it's getting stuck up a tree, right? Like, you're thinking it's going in the shit, and I'll deal with it when it gets down there. then I imagine you get down there and it's like, geez, this is not good. This is unlucky. You walk away with 7. Is there something that you kind of say to yourself, or how do you reset from that point onwards? Because in your mind, as you said, like you've just blown this whole lead, right? And you know,
Yeah.
you're leading by 5, coming down the stretch. You should be able to enjoy these last 9 holes, and all of a sudden it's game on again. Like, how do you kind of just break that and go, right, let's refocus and get back into the swing of things?
I mean, it's pretty cliche. You just got to lock into your next target and try and hit the best shot at hand. And I try to do that, but it's one thing trying to do it and the other thing executing it. So I just kept on telling myself, just try and hit the next target. That's all you can do. And I missed the next shot, the par 3 hitting the bunker, and then the following hole I missed it in the trees. And but there's no other way in really going about it. You can't. Like, you're not going to give up, are you? So
No.
you just gotta hit your next target and calm yourself down. Trying to calm the breathing down. Heart rate's probably it's going a bit quicker than what you want to. So just take a few deep breaths and focus on something that takes away from the negativity is probably the big one. That my coach was in the bag, and he just kind of kept on saying that just shift your attention to something positive, or something that you can do to help what you're doing. And that was breathing, deep breaths for me. So yeah,
I guess probably coming into Q school as well, things were looking good. I mean, you just come off a T3 at the NTPGA as well, and the game seemed like it was in good shape. Did you go in relatively confident? Like Q school, from everyone that we've spoken to over the years, like it just seems like it's so different to a normal tournament, and I don't know if that's accurate or not, because like I guess tournaments maybe come and go, and maybe that's the difference. I don't really know, but Q school always just seems to have this like different hold, because it's just like it's once a year and that's it. Like, is that fair? Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's definitely fair. It almost feels do or die. Like, it isn't, but it's what it sometimes feels like. It's bloody cutthroat. It's just, I try to treat it like another tournament, but in the back of your mind, you think, oh well, this is a big opportunity here, and this is what you want to do, and all these thoughts come in, and I was definitely more nervous at Q School than I was in Darwin, 100%. I mean, like, there's not much else to say. Like, you just go in the week and try and play normal golf, but especially sometimes when you think you almost put your expectation that you should get through, and you kind of, when it starts slipping away, you think, oh, like, you want that control back. So yeah, it's tough. And I mean, it's going to be like that for the next few years, playing Q schools and all that. Like, I'm playing Asian Q school at the end of this month, so I'm sure I'll have the same feelings. It's great feelings to have, because it knows, like, it means something. So and it'll be great practice for Spain. So yeah.
So what does that schedule look like? Obviously, you mentioned Spain there. That's the next I guess, hurdle in the DP World Tour side of things. But you've mentioned Asian Q School there. The Aussie Tour comes over here to WA in the next handful of weeks anyway. So there's a lot on the radar for you guys. Well, I mean, particularly for you guys who have thrown your hand up and got through to the next stage of DP World Tour Q School anyway. So what's the schedule kind of shaping out like?
Yeah, so it's pretty jam-packed from October onwards. So I've got my Asian Tour School at the end of this month and end of September, and like you said, the two in WA. Then Adelaide shortly after that, and I've got a few days off before I go to Spain after Adelaide. So I'll come home for a couple of days after Adelaide, go to Spain, stage 2 and stage 3. Fly back, and then I've got the big ones in Oz PGA and Oz Open, which I'm very much looking forward to. So yeah.
And I guess, like, you're obviously going to rack up the frequent flyer miles first and foremost, mate. I mean, that's always a positive.
This is a good story. I was, because I'm frequent flyer with Qantas, and
okay. What level?
Yes, this is good. So I'm still at the moment, and I was working it out. Maybe I've been working it out for the whole year. So my year ends at the 31st of October,
Oof.
and I was working it out in July. All my flights, so I counted Perth, counted Adelaide, because they're all before October, that
Yeah.
31st. And then I was like, shit, to get the gold, I've got to go to Spain. I've got to get through Q school. And I was like, so I was like, oh shit, like I have to play well because I've spent a few extra dollars throughout the year to get like your flexi
Yeah.
flights or
Yeah. A
to
few
get
more
that
status
extra
credits. Yeah.
status credits. Exactly right. So, and I thought, shit, like if I don't get through Spain, through Rosebud to Spain, like it's all going to be pointless. So when I got through, I nudged Andre and I was like, I'm going gold now, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. You get a little. What do you get? What do you get for gold? You get the lounge access and priority boarding
Lounge
and all that sort of
access.
gear. You know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
lounge access, free extra bag, which is massive.
Yes. Yeah, that is true.
Yeah,
Who's the biggest
priority
lounge
boarding.
fiend in on tour? Who's the one that's just they cannot sit out amongst the peasants? Who's the one that's
Probably Cameron John.
is that
Probably
right?
Cameron John. Yeah, yeah. He's had Qantas Club for such a long time. So every time I'm traveling with him, it's great because he got his special guest thing,
Yeah,
whatever
little
it is.
+1. Yeah.
And go with him. But
There you go.
yeah, he loves it. So now people are going to be scabbing off me.
Yeah, exactly right. Or you can repay the favor to them, maybe a few people along the way. No, that's good. So obviously jam-packed schedule coming up. There's lots on the horizon golf-wise. I mean, it seems like a bit of a redundant question to ask, but how is the game feeling? I mean, what are you kind of working on? Maybe. I mean, you said that your ball striking maybe wasn't great at during
Mm.
the Q school piece. What are you kind of working on? What's feeling good? How are you assessing where the game's at?
Yeah, game's not too bad at the moment. Yeah, like you said, I think my ball striking isn't amazing at the moment, but so that's definitely something to be working on. My just keep working on my swing and um, just keep on top of that. My putting's fairly good. Short game's okay. But yeah, my scrambling I guess is probably at the moment the best part of my game. Like my bunker game's um pretty good usually. So yeah, I'll just be working on my ball striking majority of the time leading up to these events.
All right, now you've had obviously there's practice, there's lots of stuff that you can do to get yourself ready for games and Q schools, but maybe playing Ron Chopper might not have been on the agenda. I don't know if it was on the agenda and you thought this is going to be good preparation, but you took on the great man
I
nonetheless.
did.
We had him on the show recently, and obviously being a fellow West Australian, we've
Yeah.
had the pleasure of spending a bit of time with him at the events over here in WA in Matthew Heath, as those people would know who his less famous alter ego actually is. Tell us about playing Ron Chopper. I think you dusted him from memory. I think it went
Yeah.
down to the last hole as well. Maybe I think it might have got a little bit too close there, mate. For maybe for your liking anyway. So tell us the experience of playing Ron.
Yeah, it was great fun. He was over here in Melbourne for about a week and a half, so
Yeah,
took him down here at my home club in Sandhurst, and we played 9 holes on the North Course. I started pretty hot with a birdie, and I was quickly up in the match. And I remember he held an absolute bomb at one stage for birdie to win the hole. I think it was the fifth or the sixth.
mm,
And I had a few chances slip by. I think I ended up winning maybe. I think it was 2-1 in the end,
I think it was.
and or three and it might have been 3-1, and then he's like, "Oh, double nothing," and then we go down nine, pegs it up and hit, and there's water all up the left side, par five, and he pegs it up and hits his high draw just straight in the piss. And he's like, "Thanks, mate, that'll do." And he shakes my hand. So
That's good. I
it was
like
an
that.
absolute pisser.
Yeah,
So yeah, he's really good. Great
I
guy.
love it.
So funny and yeah, like because my mates and I have started doing a YouTube channel as well.
Have you? Give it a
Yeah,
plug. Tell us. Give us a plug.
yeah. So it's called Sync, SYNK,
All right.
Sync Golf. We're on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok at the moment. So yeah, we do. You could almost say similar stuff to Ron. So
Yeah.
he was great to have on, and he kind of gave us a couple of tips, or gave me a couple of tips on how to work out the videos, and he gave us a shout out. So
Love it.
he's a great guy, and we got a few subscribers after that. So
I bet.
yeah, like our page, it's slowly growing. We're pretty new, so I was actually just filming with the guys today, so really
Nice.
great fun. There's five of us, and yeah, we just have golf matches and post that on YouTube, and the TikTok's usually a few trick shots in there.
Nice.
The odd backward shot pops
Okay.
up in there. So yeah, a bit of fun, and hopefully take that a bit further. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Well, there you go. It's a good plug. We'll put a link in the YouTube
Yeah,
and
beautiful.
in the bios as well. I guess probably that's modern day, but where did golf begin, mate? Where did it all start for you? I mean, take us through the history. What's your first memories of the game? How did it all begin for Matias Sanchez?
Yeah. So when I was even smaller than I am at the moment, it started when I was about I barely walk. 12, 18 months. Mum used to always say I'd be hitting just things around the house and annoying the shit out of her. So parents got me a plastic set when I could barely walk, and just took off from there. Played all other sports recreationally,
Yeah.
tennis and soccer and footy, but I think golf was the main one
Mm.
that I loved, and I was probably the best at. So just stuck at it. So yeah.
Yeah, a bit of natural talent there, I imagine. I mean, it seems like a common theme across,
Mm.
a lot of the guys and girls that we talk to is that they might play a lot of sports, but golf they show a bit of natural ability, and it kind of
Yeah,
just
exactly.
builds and goes from there. So I imagine after there, you eventually end up joining a club or getting some lessons and getting a little bit better. What's the process, and how does it all kind of
Yeah.
get to there?
Yeah, so I pretty much started at a little pitch and putt par three course, and from about 4 or 5 years old, which is a great place to start because the holes are only 50 meters long, and it's like I'm hitting full 7 irons into it when I'm 4 or 5 years old. So it was great, and then ended up getting my first handicap when I was 7. It was I think 26. It was, and joined up at Woodlands Golf Club. On the Sandbelt in Melbourne as a sub junior or cadet junior that
Yep.
could play a couple days a week, and then the family moved out to where I am at the moment in Sandhurst when I was about 9. So I've been there ever since, and joined Royal Melbourne as well when I was about 15. So now I'm part of 2 clubs of Royal and Sandhurst. So yeah.
What's it like getting to play Royal Melbourne essentially whenever you want? Because that's something that most people won't get to experience.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing to be honest. I played the other day on the East Course at Royal, and it was spectacular. Like greens are pure and fairways are pure, and it was like 20 degrees, no wind all day. So yeah, it's a special place. There's obviously been massive tournaments there throughout the years, and it's only getting better at the moment with the new range, and they've just installed TrackMan on the range.
Right.
It's a bit of like what you see on the PJ Tour. Like they have like these big TrackMans at the back of the range. So it's not a single bay. So
Yeah.
bit of an overkill, some would say, but it's pretty cool. So
it's good for you. Go down and
yeah,
dial the wedges in or whatever you need to do.
yeah,
I went. I was
exactly right.
fortunate to get there for the 2019 President's Cup, and it is
Yeah,
it is a really special place. And obviously,
yeah,
I think we walked away from that and said, like, as amazing as it was seeing it in full tournament mode, I think it'd be really special to see it just on a day-to-day basis, because obviously it's all tricked up for a tournament like that. There's massive activation zones and all that sort of stuff, and you kind of maybe lose a little bit of the touch of it when there is a big tournament on. But I think there'd be something quite special about seeing it on a day-to-day basis. But from one incredible course to another. Now, our main source of research is Instagram, so we obviously went through your Instagram, and to be fair, you're not a prolific poster, mate. So there wasn't a lot of dirt to pull you up on here, but I did notice. You were at the challenge cancer Robert Allenby Golf and Gala Day wearing a Pine Valley members tie. Now, I mean, wonderful cause that you're there for first and foremost. Let me get that out and out in front of that. Can you explain the Pine Valley members tie to me?
Yeah, I can. So I've never played Pine Valley, as much as I'd love to. So back in the day, there used to be a tournament called the World Club Golf Championships,
Mm-hmm.
and they'd pick 24 courses from the top 100 courses in the world, and they'd invite the club champion and runner up for a week of golf, and they'd telecast it, and you'd play it was 2 round stroke with your team with your partner, and then the top 4 would play match play. So Royal Melbourne got picked, and we went to South Korea and we went to Thailand. And in the practice round, it might have been, the practice round we played with the guy from Pine Valley.
Right.
So just kind of chewing their ear off about how good their golf course is, asking them all these questions.
I bet.
And then that night we had like a dinner ceremony sort of thing, and the tradition for that tournament was you swap ties with another golf club.
Right.
So I was wearing my nice little sharp little suit, 18-year-old Matias, and had my Royal Melbourne members tie, and I went up to the guys that played at Pine Valley and I said, do you mind if we swap ties? And he said, yeah, of course, no worries. He's like, I'd love to have a Royal Melbourne tie. And I was like, I'd love to have a Pine Valley tie. And then he gave it to me. And he goes, look, he's like, no member in the world has a Pine Valley members tie. And he gives it to me. Yeah, he's like, apart from you now. And I was like, you serious? He goes, yeah. He's like, you're not allowed to, no members have, so the non-members are not allowed to purchase a member tie or anything that's member related. So that was a member tie. So yeah, I was like, gee, that's pretty cool.
Who was he? Was he just like, he wasn't like a uber famous dude? Because like I think, sometimes you look at like LA Country Club or Riviera or whatever, there's like Justin Timberlake is a member and all this sort of shit, and it's kind of like, whatever, it's money, but it's probably just like some businessman who's
basically.
Yeah.
He was a good player though. He played a lot of US senior stuff. He was an older guy. Yeah. And he played a lot of mid-amateur stuff as well, and he was a good player. It might have been like a last name McCoy, so like a Mike McCoy or Lee McCoy, something like that. He's got a son who's pretty good too.
There you go.
And then the other guy's name was, I think it was Gene Elliott. They were both good players. I know. I feel like the American viewer would sort of know them who they are, but if you go through maybe the results of being amateur events in the US, I think their name would pop up. But they were ripping guys. So
you would have kept that contact for when you're over near Pine Valley to just go, hey guys.
That contact's still locked away somewhere there. But I'm sure if I do send off an email, they'd recognize me, I'm sure.
I bet, mate. Well, mate, thank you for joining us on the show. It's been great to have you on, learn a little bit about your story, and obviously, mate, you're doing wonderful things at the minute, and we wish you the very best for. Obviously, you've got the Asian Q School coming up. You've got events here in Perth, and then, of course, probably the big one that we're all looking forward to is stage 2 and 3 over in Europe, mate. So thanks for joining us. Wish you the very best of luck, and thanks for coming on again, mate.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you for having me.